Dear friend, we want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom, and especially a Shabbat that precedes the most beautiful, joyous outpouring of happy and unity holiday of Purim. And this Shabbat, we're going to read the Torah portion of Tetzaveh, and we take out a second Torah where we read Zachor to remember Amalek. Now, there's something very interesting. Tetzaveh, a big part of the portion, which talks about getting the Kohanim, all the priests, and specifically the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, ready for their service in the temple. And the Torah tells us that they were commanded to wear specific clothing. And the Torah goes into great length to tell us about the 8 pieces of clothing that the high priest wore. Some of them were very complex in how they were woven together and how it was worn. And then the 4 pieces of clothing that the regular priest, the Kohen, had to wear whenever they were in the temple and serving. And many question, why the emphasis on the clothing? You know, we live in a time today when people have come to see that you don't have to get dressed to go into work and do a good job. You can dress any way you want, as casual as you want, as comfortable as you want, and you can still perform and do a great job. It's not about the dress and the clothing that you wear. So why does the Torah put so much emphasis on the Kohen Gadol wearing clothing, specific clothing, and made of specific materials and in a certain way? And on the other hand, we find something even more interesting. The holiday of Purim is the holiday of dress up. We're the first ones who actually made a holiday of dressing up. What is the idea of dressing up? Trying to dress up as someone who you're not. If clothing is so important, we should dress up to reflect who we are. Why do we dress up? To reflect someone who we are not. So there's one thing we see clearly, and that is unarguable. That clothing expresses something about us. It's our way of communicating to the world how we want them to perceive us. Always, people wore dressy clothing when they went to work because they said this is a serious matter. And I am trying to be professional, so I'm going to look put together. You go to a nice event, a wedding, you get dressed up. You want to show respect to the special event that is happening, so you get dressed up for that event. Whenever we put on clothing, we are trying to tell a message to the world. And the truth is that clothing, though they seem external and sometimes may seem unimportant, in our lives and who we are, clothing play an important role. Because we cannot always control our makeup, our character, what we're feeling inside. You know, sometimes something happens and you have your knee-jerk reaction or feeling. You can't control the thoughts that come to your mind and your internal makeup. But we are told you can't control how you express yourself. No matter what you're feeling inside, no matter how much someone wronged you, no matter how much someone hurt you, no matter how much someone connived you, how you are going to react and behave, not only in your action, but even in your speech, the words you will say, and even what you're going to think, you do control. And these are akin to clothing on top of who we are, the character of who we are. And not only we can control, but we are told we have to control. And really, this is what life is all about, is learning to gain control of our expressions and our thought, speech, and action in every situation, to reflect the proper way of behavior, for a Jew, the Jewish way of behaving. Torah, mitzvot, ethics, morals, etc. So even though inside we may not be fully there, but yet when we express ourselves fully there. And the Kohen Gadol, the Kohen, they were serving a very important purpose. They were there to represent the Jewish people. So it's very important that at that moment they are totally governed in the way they express themselves while they're moving around in their service in the temple, in their actions, in their speech, and in their thought. So the Torah gives very important credence to the clothing that they wear. And from there we learn how important it is for us. Shabbat, you should put on a white shirt. A man, wear dressy clothes. It's important to express ourselves, to be up to the moment fully, even if we're not feeling inside 100% fully the way there. And that's the story of Purim. The story of Purim is that we put on other clothing to show that at the beginning of the story of Purim, the Jewish people were totally not expressing themselves as Jews. They were actually trying to hide their Jewishness and blend in and assimilate into society. But what happened was that they had an awakening from within. And ultimately, the awakening from within turned them around until they learned to express themselves the proper way. So the story of Purim was that though they didn't have the proper clothing and the right expressions, but yet there's something deep inside every one of us that can always wake up to become the person God wants us to be. And this is both aspects of the person. Yes, we always have to learn to express ourselves in the right way and be dressed up like the Kohen Gadol, the high priest, is dressed. But even when we're not dressed, or you see someone outside of you that's not dressed, don't judge them, because know that inside of them there lies a purity from which they could be awakened and brought back to be a fully good person and doing the right things. And this is such an important message for us in the way we perceive others. So I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom and a beautiful, joyous, happy Purim. Take advantage of the 24 hours of Purim to grab the energy, the joy, and the blessings that come with it. May God bless you. We love you all. Shabbat Shalom. Candlelighting time in Montreal, 5:25 p.m.